It's Chrissy and Tanner, your Common Sense editorial team, coming back at you like we do every Tuesday with reviews that we're publishing over on commonsense.org/education. We review everything in the world of learning, technology, media, resources for learning, all of that kind of stuff, apps, games, websites, the whole deal. And Chrissy, you've got maybe a small one for us today. We're going for a record short show today, so get hop on board, everyone. We'll see 10 minutes later.
It's fairly bite-sized. It's fairly simple. Also, if you hear background noise, it's just the airplane inside my computer is trying to take off, as some people are very familiar with. So, what I'm going to show you is called Closegap, and here is the URL. It is a free tool that is designed to help teachers check in with the emotional status of their students. So this is something that, teachers have a variety of strategies for. Sometimes teachers will say, give me a 1 to 10, how you're doing today, or, there are lots of ways that teachers try to get a read on where their students' sort of emotional status is for the day. And it can be really hard. So if you have a classroom of 35 students and you have 5 of those per day, I'm just thinking back to my own times in the classroom, and you're trying to attune to each one of those students and figure out it's nearly impossible. So that's where Closegap tries to fill that void. So you can see we have it rated at 4 stars and K-12. I would say, and we say this in the review, that it's probably a stretch for older students because of the look and feel. So let me first just sort of scroll down to the screenshots here. You can see that the graphics are fairly simple and have sort of that, it skews younger, I would say. But the idea is that kids can sort of check in with themselves and decide what their status is, all based around this sort of extended metaphor of a cadet that's checking in, what their emotion is, whether or not they want to actually physically talk to somebody in person. And there are also strategies that kids can use. And they're given sort of a little library here of different strategies they can use on their own, with instructions of how to proceed with each one. And then you can see that there's a dashboard where you can see where kids have checked in with you. So let me go to the site itself.
Just really quickly, is this customizable at all, or is this all just baked into the app?
Well, the free version is not customizable. The paid version has more custom options. So that is a really great distinction to make. If you want to have a more nuanced approach that maybe will fit your community in a more targeted way, yes, then you will have to shell out some cash. But let me just scroll on down. So students are doing a daily check-in. You get the info, and then either kids can do these self-guided activities or can check in with you. And you can see this is obviously, I have no check-ins because I don't have any students. But you would see today's check-ins, who still needs help. So kids who have requested some help, and then follow-ups that have happened. So one caveat that we put in the review is that the facilitation of a tool like this is really key. So if there's anybody who's reluctant to participate in using a tool like this, you could see how it might result in interactions with students that might not be for the best, and you could also see scenarios in which students might either abuse this system in nefarious ways because they because they are communicating something else, and there are lots of things that I think could maybe go sideways depending on how you implement a tool like this. That said, I do think that there is a useful place that it could occupy and a way that it could be used that might give students a space to check in with trusted adults, in a way that feels safer for them if they don't want to approach you, walk up to your desk and say, I'm having a hard time. And it's also consistent. So if you can do this consistently, students know that this opportunity is there. And so they might know that there's a safe space instead of I have to advocate for myself and approach somebody and overcome all of these other sort of obstacles that might feel really scary to a kid. So that is Closegap. And again, the free option you just use right out of the box. And if you want to pay, you also have that option if you want a few more features.
Yeah, it seems like a really neat, focused tool, and one that, now that we're still in the pandemic, but now that we've experienced let's hope the height of it, I think we're gonna have a lot of students who feel much more comfortable communicating in these kinds of ways, even if that might not be the most healthy thing. I think we have to adapt to the reality, and I think offering opportunities like this are really good. The one thing I would keep thinking of, I wish we had a privacy evaluation of this one. It's one of those things.
Yep.
Could be sensitive information. It'd be really nice, if we had a privacy evaluation. We don't yet, but you could always do your own digging into their policy and make sure that it's all on the up and up. But,
yep, that's a really good point.
So come back next Tuesday for more of this highly entertaining content, and please subscribe so you're reminded to be here on Tuesday. See you then.